Can you guys hear me? Oh, I can hear myself. Let's see. How do I fix that? Let's see. Hello? Uh, hmm. Let's see. Maybe if I just mute my desk. Can you guys hear me now? Okay. Yeah. I'll just deal with my hearing myself for now. I'll figure out how to fix it later. So welcome you guys to my first stream. My name is Emrys. I'm a Fae Librarian, um, and I basically am starting as a VTuber because I really love the idea of creating a community around books, and reading and writing, um, and I love playing video games, even though I'm really bad at them. So I figure that should be really fun. Um, so yeah. Do you guys have any questions about how my character came to be, or anything like that? Because if you guys don't, then I can start doing some reading. Um, okay. Uh, Laura is still in development stage, but I can tell you that basically my uh, my character is the he's basically a fallen prince from a Fae noble family, who was kicked out and forced to go hang out in the mortal realms. Um, and he was taken in by uh, a nice old man who he thought was just the worst, at the beginning, because uh, he was just this nasty old man. But through years of working in the man's library, he decided that he needed to um, reform his ways. And when when the old librarian passed, he decided to take on the mantle of librarian in the Fae realm. Um, that kind of makes it sound like he's Batman, but it's not like an actual mantle that that he's taken on. He's just created his own way in the world. Yeah. Like I said, it's a little bit in flux right now, but hopefully by um, whenever whenever I actually have a more concrete like idea of what's going on in his backstory. Hi, Sophia. How you doing? How are the cats? If you don't know, Sophia has cats, and they're adorable. Yeah, I think that one of my one of my favorite um, kind of story beats or story arcs is people who are high up on the social echelon and have been brought low by either their actions um, or some kind of circumstance, and how they basically deal with that in their own ways. And there are a lot of characters out there that deal with it in whole like just terrible ways, obviously. Um, and I decided that Emrys did it. Uh, he ended up at least somewhat positive in the end. Um, so yeah, I'm glad you guys like the lore as it is so far. Um, any I also should take some time to thank everybody who's followed me either on here on Twitch or on Twitter, because holy crap, I did not expect there to be um, as much people who are enjoying my content as there are so quickly. Um, yeah, Sophia, that's it's gonna be really fun. I can't wait to talk about books with you. Um, we should set that up pretty soon. Um, but yeah, anybody who has followed me so far, thank you so very much. Alstar Teller, Zach Curley SW, One Star Kana, um, Coroniko. I'm sorry if I butcher uh, your your names, because It's just gonna happen. I'm sorry. Um, Senakitsune uh, Korich, um, Calix Snowbloom, Yuki uh, Yuki Shinomi, Jack Daniels. I love your name. Um, that's the end of my mini feed because it was only set up the other day, and I had a whole bunch of other people follow me before I set up my overlays and everything. But I'm extremely grateful for all of you. Um, so yeah, I figured that since this is the first like test stream, we could just like talk about books and stuff. You can you guys can get to know me, what I like in the books that I read, and then we can talk about uh, we can do some poetry reading because I like reading. I'm read mostly sci-fi fantasy with a bit of like historical fiction and contemporary romance dashed in there um, when I'm in the mood for it. But mostly it's sci-fi fantasy. Yeah. Um, my favorite my favorite book uh, for a while now has been The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, or really for the entire Stormlight Archive, um, the series. I just think that the way that he deals with um, mental health and just the weaving of plot lines and the world building it's just amazing. It's a really great series. Um, yeah, and anything Cosmere related is really good. Is really good. Um, no, I haven't read anything by her. Or Walter John Williams, Jane Lynn Scold, or Walter John Williams. Um, what what have what have they written? Yeah, Mistborn is also really good. If you guys haven't read any of Brandon Sanderson's works, Mistborn is a really it's a good first like foray into his fantasy. He's very into making magic systems that are well defined. Um, so hard magic systems. Um, no problem, Green Ink. That's totally cool. Um, and uh, and so Sanderson really likes to set up these magic systems where you as the reader can base not necessarily just guess what the how the magic system is going to be used to like solve the problems, but he makes it in such a way that if you have all of the information that you need to know what the characters can do. It's not like in Tolkien where no one knows what Gandalf can do. Besides, like he makes lights and fire sometimes. Um, Okay. I will look for through the wolf's eye. Through wolf's eyes. Um, yeah, I haven't heard of that, but yeah, I'll look it up. Yeah. His rule based magic systems are some of the best that I've ever seen. Um, and there are a lot of people out there who would say that uh that if you put rules on magic, then it ruins the magic. But it never ruins the experience for me in any of Brandon Sanderson's works. He uses the rules to enhance his magic, and it's really cool. But other than other than Sanderson, trying to think of a sci-fi that I read recently. I really like. Yeah, it makes the characters much more believable. Um, it's I think in modern fantasy, it's really interesting how uh, people or writers have evolved to basically um, make characters more believable, uh, and they like we don't have as many characters that are like the book version of Aragorn. The book version of Aragorn is basically a Superman, um, and uh, you never really doubt that he's going to become the king or that he can slay 100,000 orcs by himself, right? Yes, I've read the Wheel of Time. Um, I actually with a friend, although he kind of dropped out a bit halfway through, but like I binge the Wheel of Time um, last year and into January of this year, and oh man, uh, I I I could say so many things about the Wheel of Time. Um, not I will say that the Wheel of Time there is some really great world building, um, but I don't like the way that Robert Jordan makes his characters. Um, I felt like there was way too much repetition, and and I feel like he didn't. I don't think he writes women very well. Let's just say that. Um, but yeah, um, let's see. We can we can we can keep talking about the Wheel of Time if you want. Or we can you know we can talk about more sci-fi stuff or the classics or anything like that. Um, I just want to basically spend some time getting to know you guys and give you a chance to get to know me. Um, so I so with the classics, I really like. I was always really into the Greek and mostly the Greek poetry, um, like the true like classical literature. But when I was in college, I took a bunch of 18th century uh, 18th century literature courses, and I love me some 18th century poetry, um, and I love I love Dracula. I love um, Pride and Prejudice. Uh, yeah, I feel like if I were reading it again, I would like knowing what's coming. It would help with the Wheel of Time, but it's so long. um, but yeah, what are your favorite classics, Sophia? Yeah, reading a series like The Wheel of Time just takes so much time that it's I don't know. I don't know if I could read it a second time. I've never read Jane Eyre. Um, yeah, Poe's really good too. Um, ooh, I love audiobooks. I This may be a little bit controversial and uh, like heresy, blasphemy, but I actually like audiobooks more than physically reading. Uh, I don't know if it's just something about the way my brain works, but I get uh, at least in the last few years, it feels hard to concentrate when I'm reading. Yeah, yeah, driving driving is really good for audiobooks. Um, but yeah, often feel like it's hard to concentrate for me when I'm reading physical or even ebooks, and I just like after a couple of pages, I find myself picking up my phone again. um, but with audiobooks, it allows me to kind of have it in the background and pay attention, but allows me to concentrate on other things as well. And it just makes the reading experience go much better for me. And I've had people tell me that I'm just like, you're not a real reader. You just listen to things. If anybody ever tells you that audiobooks aren't reading, tell them to fuck off because they are. Yes, it is. It's ableist. Um, it's terrible. Any way you want to consume literature is the best way to consume literature. Yes. Graphic novels are also reading. Um, I I've seen a lot of people, at least in the the booktube, the YouTube space, have gotten into reading manga lately, which is really cool. But there are also people who say that, like, manga is a lesser form of literature because there's so many pictures and blah 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 blah, blah. You know, it's terrible. Although you would expect someone like me who's a 2D anime character to say that those people are wrong, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, right. In this essay, I will exactly let people read and enjoy what they want in any way they want, unless it's actively hurting people. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah. When I taught, I we had a theme. I taught like a monsters literature course, and we talked about how um, people are othered in society, and um, one of the things that I had them read was the graphic novel. Uh, what is it? Injustice, Gods Among Us, uh, to have them under to help them understand how different views, different people write Superman, um, and how Superman can either be this amazing, superhero character, or he can be your worst nightmare. Um, and the and the kids really seem to enjoy that aspect of it. Um, they didn't enjoy as much reading like Dracula or all the things with like old timey text. Yep, that's exactly why people love it. Invincible and the boys. Um, it's it's the same thing. Yep. Or any character that subverts um, expectations. Yeah, it's an acquired taste. Um, any of those like hard R TV shows or superhero movies. Although you do often have to be careful about talking about things like uh, comparing how in literature certain groups of people are compared to monsters, because oftentimes students don't have the capacity to go beyond, well, these people are monsters. So we had to make sure that we were very careful about how we worded things. And even then, we sometimes messed up, and things didn't come across as much as I would have liked. Yeah, I love poetry. Um, it's it's hard to understate how important poetry has been uh, in the history of literature. I haven't read very much modern poetry, um, but I feel like however poets want to um, write their work, they should go for it. Um, I feel like even though it can be interesting to have to work within the classic forms, that it can um, they it can be limiting, and if you don't want to follow the rules, then screw them. Yeah, and I also I would love to understand why all these rules came about. Like who decided that sonnet has to have certain rhyme schemes and certain number of lines and certain number of syllables per line, and just like why, you know? Just it's fascinating. Speaking of poetry, I have a couple of my favorites that I have somewhere. There we are. Yeah, that's true. The structure does create create rhythm, and people are like, "Oh, that sounds nice." Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a good point. Um, yeah, I have a couple of my favorite poems pulled up that if you guys want, I can read them, um, and then I can take some requests for public domain poetry. So the first one that I've loved for a long, long time um, is uh, Ozymandias by Percy Shelley, the husband of Mary Shelley. Um, so here goes. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell its that tell that its sculptor well those passions red which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed, and on the pedestal these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretched far away." Yeah, that that poem gives me the chills. Um, I love how he works with time and um, how Ozymandias was once this great king, but time is the wrecker of all things. Um, and no matter how great Ozymandias was, he's just a man, and there's very little to remember him by. Um, and I think there's a lot of ways in which you could say that this is a really depressing poem. Um, and yet there's also the aspect that no matter how bad you mess up, time will wipe away any of your sins. Time has made Ozymandias almost the same as any of the peasants that he had working on this statue. Um, and yeah, he still has a statue, whereas the workers don't. And we know the name of Ozymandias still, but eventually, no one will remember Ozymandias' name. Um, and time will level him too. Does that make sense? Like, does that is it weird that I find hope in that? I don't know. Maybe that's just the pessimist and nihilist in me. And again, there are obviously a lot of different interpretations to this. Even just the quote on the statue: "Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair." There are different ways to interpret that. So we're supposed to look on his works and see that even though we are mighty, Ozymandias is so much more mighty than us that it should make us despair. But there's the juxtaposition of time is much more mighty than him. And all of his works are in decay. And we should despair for that as well, maybe. Because there's this great civilization that has fallen, whether Ozymandias was a good king or not. His kingdom is no more, and I think there's a real interpretation for that being something that we should despair about, right? Um, so the other poem that I have pulled up is Ulysses by Lord Alfred Tennyson, and no relation to the James, what's his name? It's gonna bug me now that I can't figure it out. Let me pull it up. Ulysses. James Joyce, that's him. No relation to the James Joyce novel. This is much shorter and much better. At least in my opinion. Hey Stebby, how's it going? We're just doing some poetry reading. Ulysses is a poem that is near and dear to my heart because I love the Greek classics, and I love the Odyssey and the Iliad, and I love how, as you'll see when I start reading it, I love how Tennyson deals with the aftermath of Odysseus's life, and Ulysses is the Latin name for Odysseus. But yeah, I really like how he deals with honestly the trauma of his life, and how it has affected him in his old age. It little profits that an idle king, by this still hearth, among these barren crags, matched with an aged wife, I meet and dole unequal laws unto a savage race that hoard and sleep and feed and know me not. I cannot rest from travel. I will drink life to the lees. All times I have enjoyed greatly, have suffered greatly, both with those that loved me and alone on shore, and when through scudding drifts the rainy Hyades vexed the dim sea. I am become a name for always roaming with a hungry heart. Much have I seen and known, cities of men and manners, climates, councils, governments, myself not least, but honored of them all, and drunk delight of battle with my peers, far on the ringing plains of windy Troy. I am a part of all that I have met, yet all experience is an arc where through gleams that untraveled world, whose margin fades, for all and forever when I move. How dull it is to pause, to to make an end, to rust unburnished, not to shine in use, as though to breathe were life, life piled on life. Were all too little, and of one to me little remains. But every hour is saved from that eternal silence, something more, a bringer of new things, and vile it were, for some 3 suns to store and hoard myself, and this grey spirit yearning and desire to follow knowledge like a sinking star, beyond the utmost bound of human thought. We can stop there and think about it. There's a couple more stanzas, but I love how he paints a picture of Odysseus as this, basically this old sailor who is trying to relive the glory days, in his own mind, and he is restless. Even though he went through hell to get back to Ithaca, and he had this beautiful reunion with his wife Penelope. He after some number of years later, we're not certain how many years, but eventually he gets bored. He feels like where is it? He feels like he has lost his shine. He feels like he once was this great man who shined above all others, beloved of Athena, and now he's just this dude who's married to this old woman, Penelope, and he's not out there winning honor. He's not fighting battles or fighting monsters or going to Hades itself and meeting his battle compatriots or anything like that. It's just a fascinating look at the way that soldiers come back from war. And obviously Tennyson wouldn't describe it like this, but what he's describing is basically PTSD. And I just think that it's an amazing turn to take for what at this time period, Odysseus was basically regarded as a god amongst men, in myth. And Tennyson is taking this god figure and reminding us that he is a man, and in his old age, he wants to be back where he was. And so then he starts talking about his son Telemachus. Um, this is my son, mine own Telemachus, to whom I leave the scepter and the isle, well loved of me, discerning to fulfill this labor, by slow prudence to make mild a rugged people, and through soft degrees subdue them to the useful and the good. Most blameless is he, centered in the sphere of common duties, decent not to fail in offices of tenderness and pay meet adoration to my household gods. When I am gone, he works his work, I mine. He's basically giving his son just the most epic burn. um, he's describing his own son as, he's okay. Like, he's fit to rule, I guess. But I, Odysseus, am meant for more than just sitting here and growing fat and old. I don't want to be stuck doing common duties and making the people docile. I want to be with the rugged people, with the sailors out there winning glory and getting treasure, and cheating on my wife and doing all those hero things, right? So basically, he's describing how he's going to be leaving his son and his wife behind, and he's just going to leave them for the sea, and he's going to go out and adventure again. The final stanza is, there lies the port, the vessel puffs her sail, there gloom the dark, broad seas. My mariners, souls that have toiled and wrought and thought with me, that ever with a frolic welcome took the thunder and the shine, and opposed free hearts, free foreheads. You and I are old. Old age hath yet on his honor and his toil. Death closes all. But something ere the end, some work of noble note, yet may yet be done. Not unbecoming men that strove with gods, the lights begin to twinkle from the rocks. The long day wanes, the slow moon climbs, the deep moans roar around with many voices. Come, my friends, 'tis not too late to seek a newer world. Push off, and sitting well in order, smite the sounding furrows, for my purpose holds to sail beyond the sunset, and the baths of all the western stars until I die. It may be that the gulfs will wash us down. It may be we shall touch the Happy Isles. The Happy Isles is a reference to Elysium, the Greek heaven-ish. And see the great Achilles, whom we knew. Though much is taken, much abides. And though we are not now that strength which in old days moved earth and heaven, that which we are, we are. One equal temper of heroic hearts, made weak by time and fate, but strong in will to survive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. I love it. And it's so true to Odysseus's character, that he would be this crotchety old man who's unhappy in his middle old age, just sitting at home. So he's just like, screw it. I'm going to go die at sea and go and die fighting someone so that I can go see Achilles in the underworld. Right? Ugh. It's so good. What do you guys think? Thanks. I love to read out loud, and it warms my heart to hear you say that, because I feel like there are a bunch of times where I mess up when I'm reading out loud, and I lose my place, and it just sometimes it makes me anxious, but it's nice to know that somebody likes my reading. Yeah, finding a good rhythm is really hard. Um, yeah. What are your favorite poems? Yeah, it's gonna be a poem. I know that. Oh, Emily Dickinson, nice. I haven't read a ton of Emily Dickinson's poems, but yeah, I love Emily Dickinson's story, and how, and like the story behind her writing. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. Yeah, yeah. I like Shakespeare. Um, I can tell you, I didn't like Shakespeare when I was forced to read Romeo and Juliet in like eighth grade. Um, but once I got older and read um, like uh, Hamlet and Macbeth are truly great plays. And Tempest, yeah, Tempest is really good too. Um, it's really funny though, because Romeo and Juliet. Oh wait, no, that's not the. That's a Midsummer's Night Dream. Never mind. I was gonna say that Romeo and Juliet is the one that has uh, the magic and the fairies, but that's A Midsummer's Night Dream. So if you haven't watched it, um, uh, there's an acting company called the Abridged Shakespeare Company, I believe it's called, and they basically they do a show where they do all of Shakespeare's uh, tragedies and comedies um, in a single show, and it's amazing. Like, it is the funniest thing I have ever seen to do with literature. Yeah, I feel like I don't even know why they do uh, Romeo and Juliet. I guess it must be that they figure that Romeo and Juliet are teens, so they'll uh, kids will relate to them more. Um, but like Romeo and Juliet are idiots, so yeah, don't make them read his terrible plays. Yeah, well, the kids who actually do the reading, and don't like just like spark notes it. Yeah, that's the play. But yeah, Hamlet would definitely be my favorite, just because it has themes of decay, and I'm one of those Fae creatures who loves mortals having a terrible time. Yes, the movie with DiCaprio. Yes, um, my my ninth grade English teacher showed us the old movie of Romeo and Juliet, and he didn't remember that the old movie shows Juliet's butt. So he, as soon as he realized what was going to happen in like 10 seconds, he rushed up to the up to the TV and tried to like block our view. It was so funny. Yes, yeah. Stranger things have happened. I'd totally forgotten about that. That was a long time ago. But yeah, I would say that Shakespeare has a lot of obviously a lot of merit um, to be taught in schools, uh, but Romeo and Juliet isn't the best of his plays, obviously. It's it's funny to like I look to the side and see my model just kind of like moving side to side as I move. I wonder if there's a way to make it not move so much. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. Yeah, with 2D models, I use VTube Studio, um, and obviously I'm still learning the program. Really? I had no idea that there was an anime adaptation. There's actually a modern version of Macbeth, um, where all the horses are replaced with motorcycles. I don't remember much of that movie, but I just remember the motorcycles. Yeah, it's super funny. I'm pretty sure that Patrick Stewart is in that. Or maybe that's a different version. I know there definitely is a version of Macbeth where Patrick Stewart plays Macbeth. I don't remember if that's the modern version. And obviously, pretty much every British actor has that has ever existed has played Hamlet, and some American actors. There's there's a Mel Gibson uh, version of Hamlet, yeah, which is terrifying and also uh, creepy. Were the world mine? Okay. Yeah, I love books that are retellings of old stories. Uh, Especially uh, I love the Greeks, so I really like uh, Madeline. What's the what's the author's name? I think it's Madeline Miller. Yeah, um, who wrote Circe and the Song of Achilles. Song of Achilles is amazing. That book made me cry so hard. And Cersei is also really good, um, but not as good as Song of Achilles. Yeah, it. The problem that you get with retellings of or even translations of the Iliad is that they often take out the context of the uh, Patroclus and Achilles. Yeah, the Patroclus and Achilles relationship, and they in Song of Achilles, Madeline Miller just goes so hard on the actual relationship. Yeah, and they were very good friends, or they were cousins, or you know, they were brothers. No, they were homosexual life partners. Don't take that away from them. Bros being bros. It does make sense though that Song of Achilles is a tearjerker because if you know the Iliad, there's no way that that story can end happily. Poor Achilles. And really, poor Orlando Bloom in the Troy movie. Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's good. I actually haven't seen Spartacus, um, but I may have to. I love yeah. Well, Orlando Bloom plays the Trojan Paris, and Brad Pitt plays Achilles. So we watched that movie for the plot. Hmm. The plot. Yeah, I really like stories that you know that the characters are gonna suffer, um, and then they do, and whether or not they come out in the end, like it's not always about the surviving. But yeah, I could talk about books forever. Books and poetry and all the different characters that I love. Um, I just I feel like there isn't a way to understate the importance of stories and literature in our lives. So here I am. Yes, stories are eternal as long as we don't forget them. Um, so yeah, I yeah I don't know. Um, there are definitely stories that we have fragments of that I would love to hear the whole story, but um, I remember I heard a song um, played by Hank Green. The He's a YouTuber. I don't know if you guys know him, but it's the oldest song that we have in its entirety with lyrics and the music. Um, and a Greek. Uh, it's a Greek song that was written on uh, either like on a like a piece of pottery or on a piece of paper that was the in pottery, um, and it was like placed by a husband for his dead wife in her tomb, um, and it's basically the message is basically YOLO, uh, which is really funny. um, let me see if I can let me see if I can pull that up because that's really funny. Um, yeah, it's called Cyclos Epitaph. If you want to look it up, it's amazing. It's spelled Seikilos. Yeah, it's beautiful with the music. I wish I could pronounce ancient Greek. I cannot. Nor can I play a lyre. Go for it. What instruments do you play? Okay, yeah. Well, you can definitely play it on guitar. Um, that's how I heard it. So, so yeah. In the next couple of weeks, I'll be getting um, some new alerts. I've commissioned um, some alerts for my overlays, um, and I haven't commissioned any emotes yet, um, because I don't know when I'm going to be able to use them. Um, so I'll be getting emotes closer to when I start to get affiliate status. But yeah, yeah, yeah. It's amazing. I did not expect uh, to get that many followers before I even started really streaming. So that it's been really amazing. People are really generous in this community, and it's so great. The really difficult one is the uh, amount of people watching. So we'll see. Maybe we can try speed running it. Maybe we'll see. I'm gonna try to put together a Discord server. Um, I'm doing some research on uh, other VTuber servers that I'm in to see what works for them. Um, so I'll let you guys know when that becomes available. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else like background stuff that I want to tell you guys about. Um, don't think so. I'm I think that we're gonna do some like a mixture of like reading streams like we did today, and also I definitely do want to play some games, because I think it'll be really fun to just like fail uh, at playing video games, um, like Elden Ring uh, and other story based games. Um, so there's that. But we definitely will do more reading because I really do like to read aloud. Um, But yeah, today was really great. I had a really great time doing this test stream, and I was super nervous about it, but it went really well. Yeah. So thanks you guys for sticking around and talking with me about books and poetry and all that stuff. It's been really fun. Um, yeah, I haven't decided on a schedule yet, um, but I figure that starting out, I'm gonna do probably 2 or 3 days a week, a couple weeknights, and one weekend day. And on the weekends, I could probably stream for a, a bunch longer than on weeknights, cause gotta work in the morning. Um, what kinds of games would you guys like to see me play? If you don't mind me asking. Whatever I enjoy. That's way too much choice. I'll be paralyzed by choice. Valhalla? I will look that up. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I've played a bunch of the Dark Souls games, and I love them even though I'm terrible at them. So I'll probably play some of them. Um, I could do Cyberpunk. Um, I have to look at my Steam account and see what kinds of games I have that would be cool to stream. Well, I think I'm going to head out because I'm getting kind of hungry and I should eat some food. But thanks again for hanging out with me, and talking about all that stuff. And I will see you guys next time. Should we should we raid somebody? I don't know how to do that. They don't tell you things. They just kind of let you do whatever you want. Let's see. In the chat. Oh no. Okay, well, let's see if it'll let me do it. Okay. Ah. I typed something and it brought up all the commands. Nice. Let's see who is on and that we can raid. She looks like she's gonna be stopping soon. Let's do who may she. Raid. Yes. Do that, yes. Oh, let's looks like Maple Fae just came on, so let's do Maple Fae. Okay. Let's see. Nope. Invalid username. Darn. I may have. No, I spelled it right. Raid. Maybe. Nope. Okay, let's do someone else and see if it'll let me do somebody else. Raid. Yeah, so many things to learn. So many things to YouTube. A book? I'm so shocked. Twitch for Dummies. Nice. I need a copy of that. Because I'm a dummy. I wonder... Yeah, it is not letting me raid. How to raid on Twitch. Followed by the username. Oh. I bet I'm not supposed to put in brackets. Raid has been created. That did it. Okay, I will see you guys next time. Bye.